Well, it's John Heaton. I'm going to take you through some of the stuff I picked up last week. It was another pleasing week for me because I managed to find some new items physically in a shop, and also ordering online, although I ordered from a shop and it turned out to be the shop was in Budapest, so I just went and picked it up and saving on the postage. So sooner or later I'm going to have to start ordering from abroad because I'm going to run out of things in Hungary to buy. But so far I've been pleasantly surprised by the amount of new stuff I found. And so this week I picked up a cassette copy of Ringo the Fourth, which I've never seen before since back in the day anyway. I used to own a lot of the solo albums on cassette first off, but I've sold most of them along the way. This was not one of them. I had Bad Boy and Rotogravure on cassette, I seem to remember. But this is a US copy, nice to have. This was a 30th anniversary edition of the White Album, so from 1998, and I don't know if you remember it when it came out, but it's very faithfully reproducing the original 68 edition, opening at the top. And there's a few nice things about it. The black inner sleeves are reproduced here, with the green apple there, and the actual CD is on this apple as well. So it was the first CD to feature the apple because the 87 CD just had EMI on the CD, and then like the mono version of the CD in the box set, you get the actual individual postcard, the individual pictures. But unlike the mono box set, which you had to purchase the whole box to get, you could pick this up individually, and for some reason I didn't at the time. It's very nicely packaged, and rather amusingly, well, the listing of the songs here is in the original grey font from the LP at the time, which is pretty hard to read on the original, but then when you reduce it to CD size, it's very hard to read. I can just about read it. And it's amusing, on the CD itself, it says, for the track listing, refer to the poster. So if you want to see the track listing, you can either look at this grey font on here, which is very difficult to read, or you can, and good luck to you doing this, you can refer to the lyrics on the poster, which was difficult to read at the time, and now, well, with my eyesight, I could hardly make it out. I think you need a microscope. But anyway, so it's minor criticism because I really like the way this is packaged, and I'm very happy to pick that up, and it wasn't too expensive. Then a couple of singles. We've got an Italian Instant Karma here, backed by Who Has Seen the Wind. Missing the picture from the US sleeve, but so Play Loud is translated into Italian Suonare a Maxi Volume, or Volume. Sure I've pronounced it right. And then on the B-side, Suonare a Mini Volume. And then there's the Italian Apple. So this was nice to have. I didn't have an Instant Karma single in my collection, so now I do. And this is a German copy of Mind Games, which I had in a Japanese version so far. So this was a European version, and a slightly different font on the cover there. It's the familiar German apple with the, actually it's not Gemma, it's Keep A Stroke C, the company there. So I think as it's a single, I assume it came out around the time. I don't think they used to reissue singles. So, and then the advertising the album on the B-side, so happy to have that. And then I picked up this Yugoslav record label there, version of Mull of Kintyre, and this is interesting because it's on a very strange orange capital label, which I've never seen before. Whereas on the copies I have up to now have been on Parlophone. And then I was very happy to stumble across this Spanish single of Paul Simon from his first album, released from his first album. And again, I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce it right. It's me and Julio down by the schoolyard. Yo y Julio por el patio de la escuela. And This is backed by Congratulations, which is Felicidades in Spanish. So I'd never seen that before. That was a pleasant surprise to find in the physical shop yesterday. And then I picked up this German copy of Rock and Roll. Again, not expensive, so I'm always looking out for international variations, and the lovely German, this is on the Gemma label, a lovely German green apple there, one of my favourites, and difficult to tell if this was from 75 or a later pressing. I think giving it the benefit of the doubt, it's from the 70s anyway, because I do have a later 80s pressing from Yugoslavia, which was not from the 70s, but anyway. And then I didn't actually have a proper copy of Low, because my copy of Low, David Bowie, was with the song credits on the back in white writing and rather flimsy 140 gram vinyl, whereas this has got the original. Well, this is obviously on the 180 gram vinyl. I'm not going to get out the record to show you, but it's got the the songwriting credits here. Showing Carlos Alomar on guitar and Dennis Davis on percussion and George Murray on bass, etc. So, have you noticed how David Bowie's new vinyl is priced so much cheaper than most other artists? It's really quite noticeable. It's about £12 I paid for that, and most other artists you're talking 20 or getting on for 20. So hats off to David Bowie's estate for pricing his catalogue sensibly. This was the last album I needed from ABBA on vinyl, the Ring Ring album, which was actually just attributed to the four names as opposed to the name of the band when it first came out in Poland. And this has some early classics on it, such as Nina, Pretty Ballerina, and Another Town, Another Train. The single from Supertramp, The Logical Song, and a nice picture sleeve. Wasn't expensive. Picked that up, very nice. Happy to have that. Just been revisiting a couple of books actually. This book, the one from Bill Harry on Beatlemania, I was just dug it out to read because I thought maybe there's something I'd missed. And the chapter on Let It Be is quite fascinating because it has contemporary reviews from the papers at the time, plus some quotes from Lindsay Hogg, who in a Rolling Stone interview gave an insight into the problems he had making the film. It's lucky there is a movie. There was a big push all the time to get them going. Even though half of them always were behind it, the trouble was it was never the same half. So having watched The Get Back, that's quite interesting. It was a terribly painful, frustrating experience. It's not that I don't like them, I do. It's just that when we were trying to make the film, every day there was a different one to hate. So I thought that was fascinating. And then some of the reviews, like there's a guy in the Morning Star, a lady in the Morning Star, Nina Hibbin. For those who expected it to throw some light on the development of the Beatles phenomenon, it is disappointingly barren. Paul McCartney, now very much the guiding spirit of the team, comes across as a thoroughgoing professional who, one can imagine, may switch off his Beatle self out of studio hours and change into quite a different person at home. George Harrison, with his strong boned face and shut-in expression, looks as if he could fit into any tough and isolated position. As a shepherd in Bulgaria, or the manager of a suburban sub-post office. John Lennon and Ringo Starr appear to be the true individuals as far as the film allows us to glimpse their individuality, with Beatle eccentricity running through their veins. I thought that was an interesting review from the Morning Star, which was the old communist newspaper. This is also, forgot to mention this book when I was talking about my favourite Beatles books, because this is a superb book from John Weiner, covering John as a politician or his politics, and it's quite well timed because next weekend I'm going to record a video with Matt from Pop Goes the 60s, and we're going to cover Sometime in New York City, which comes up for its 50th anniversary this year, and I'm sure I know we're going to have differing views, so that should be a good one. Couple of videos I've been made before Christmas, which I may not have told you about, or you may not have seen. I did one with Matt from Pop Goes the 60s and Paul from My Inner Groove, who used to be Fit to be Tie-Dyed. That's on Paul's channel, My Inner Groove, and I'll try and leave a link below. And then I also did a review of Tug of War. Comparison of what were we doing? Comparing Tug of War and Flaming Pie with Andrew Brooks and James Griffiths, and that's on Andrew Brooks' channel, which is under the name Andy B. So I'll leave a link. But if you type in Andy B Beatles or something, his channel will come up. So that was quite a fun discussion. All three of us came down in favour of Tug of War, by the way, which I know not all of you agree with, but there we go. Just a couple of non-Beatles items I have got into recently. The newly animated Evil of the Daleks, which is absolutely second to none. One of the best adventures ever, when the Daleks discover the human factor. And then the first Doctor Adventure, Galaxy 4, which unfortunately is less impressive. In fact, it's one of the least enjoyable Doctor Who stories of all time, no less. I found it really hard going, but Evil of the Daleks well worth checking out. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.